All right, what is happening, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you live with Dustin Shelton, breaking down this Week 5 NFL slate. We have 10 games on the slate. How do you feel about the slate so far, my man? As we dig
It
in.
is an it is an interesting slate. A lot of good plays, especially in the 4 o'clock window, and I can't wait to dive in.
Same. It's a lot of good matchups on our hands, to say the least. But we're gonna break it down. You want to do game by game this time, man, or you want to do position by position?
I like the position by position.
I got you. Alrighty. So Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, your two AK options. In my opinion, I'm much rather go to Patrick Mahomes. It's a better
Mhm,
matchup for him against Minnesota. The stats
mhm.
don't lie. I mean, he had a down game against the Jets. I mean, yes, they did win, but it was a down game in Patrick Mahomes' opinion. Are you fading Patrick Mahomes on this slate? Are you playing Jalen Hurts? How do you feel, man?
I'm gonna have a little bit of Mahomes. I'm probably gonna have. I try to make 3 lines. I'm probably gonna have Mahomes in one of them. Probably going to fade Hurts. I'm not saying to people that want to play him that he's not going to have a good game. He possibly can, and I do like him. I just prefer Mahomes better. But if you want to go Hurts, there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
Right. Like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong with your quarterback, to be honest with you. Drop it down in the 7Ks. You have three options: Lamar Jackson, Tua, Anthony Richardson at 7,000. That was already interesting to me when I saw that price tag. How do you feel about Lamar Jackson here against Pitt?
He's been killing it, man. Let's see, you got 28, 32, 22. He had that one stinker against Houston, but ever since then, he's been killing it with his receivers being down. And Pittsburgh, they're playing some pretty good D, but I just think Lamar is. It don't matter which defense you're playing, you're going to play Lamar.
Yeah, I like Lamar here, especially with the rushing upside. We know the rushing upside's always going to be there, especially in the end zone. At 7-8, it's the big question of, do you just go to Patrick Mahomes for 400 more, or do you play Lamar Jackson? But you also have Tua. You have
Well,
Tua,
you can also run Lamar naked too. You don't have to pair him with anybody, to be honest with
right? Yeah, like I said, you don't have to pair him whatsoever. I get it.
you.
But Tua against the Giants, this Giants team is in shambles, to say the least. This is a matchup in heaven for Tua, in my opinion, also.
What a worst case scenario for the Giants. You were coming off your worst showing, and you think you're going to have a bounce back game, but now you're going to face the Dolphins, who had their worst showing. I would not be surprised if this game is out of hand by halftime. I like Tua. My question I bring back to it is with Mahomes a couple weeks ago against the Bears, and it is, does he stay in the whole game? I
Mhm.
can see them getting to a big lead and he goes out and Mike White comes back in the third quarter. That's the only thing that concerns me about Tua. If the Giants keep it close, Tua's in a good spot for a bounce back game.
Well, maybe they can with Saquon Barkley possibly being back. Maybe that's the option. Anthony Richardson though is only it's 7,000. What are we doing with him with his rushing upside?
He's a good play. I just worry about his health. He's left 2 games early.
Hmm.
He I mean he's a young Cam Newton in my opinion. That's what he reminds me of. And it's been shown, he's having a problem staying healthy. And now does he like kind of step back and not take all those hits or get himself in a position to take those hits? I'm not suggesting you don't play Richardson, but I play with a little bit of caution.
Yeah, that's the problem is we know the rushing upside's there. You know he's going to throw his body into the wind. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he's been doing to get those fantasy points for you. I'd much rather just pay $100 more for Tua, to be honest with you, in a revenge narrative kind of thing where this is the game that they need to break out, which I think they definitely will. Kirk Cousins is 6'9", Jared Goff is 6'3", Joe Burrow was 6'2" against Arizona. What do you feel about Joe Burrow, man? The price tag is dropping. It's
It
dropping each week.
he burned me last week. He burned me bad. He said this is a must win. And people are thinking the Cardinals are some sort of pushovers, but if you have watched them play, they are not. You can make an argument they could be 3-1. They had that one stinker against Washington, and they've been really, really good. So Burrow at 6'2" is going to give him a lot of attention, and him saying this is a must win. But I still think he's not healthy. I really don't. Something's up with
Yeah, this is the get right spot in my opinion. This is the week that if you're going to play him, this price tag is not going to drop any lower. Like I think if he puts up even a mid-sized performance, the price tag is going to go up. Like
him.
I don't think 6'2" is going to be that price next week. Do you think at least? Your price next to C.J. Stroud and Daniel Jones. Like that's not okay.
Stroud, I can see. Jones should be.
Or Russell Wilson at 5'7". Like there's
No,
no way.
nothing interests me. Cousins, you could with Cousins, and then Cousins just like all right, and then below him you had who'd you have below Cousins? Goff.
Off at 6'3".
St. Brown's gonna be questioned. St. Brown is doubtful. I think they're gonna run the mess out of the ball. Carolina cannot stop the run. I think if you want to bet a bet this week, if Goff has like a 220 passing thing, I'd probably go under.
I can
I just
see
think
it.
they're gonna run the mess out of the ball this week.
I can see it. Um,
Yeah,
I don't mind CD Stroud with the stacking options with Tane Dell and Nico Collins.
yeah,
Stroud's always in play, in my opinion. I've been playing him week in, week out. I've been running him up nonstop. I can't stop playing him, especially with his fantasy performances. I mean, you're getting
no,
solid, you're getting 25, 20, 24. You're getting solid between the 20 and 25 range. The
yeah,
price side interests me at 6,000, especially with the Falcons. I'm not playing Daniel Jones. You
no,
can't be enough to play him. Russell Wilson, I'm not playing against the Jets. That defense is legit, as
yeah.
we know. Matthew Stafford is interesting. I know you liked him a lot.
Love him.
How do you feel about him, man?
I love him. He's my mainline quarterback. Eagles, you know, I know they're 4-0, but
Look who they played.
I mean, have they impressed you any?
Look who they played. That's pretty much my
Yeah,
statement. Is
and
it's
they give up a lot of yards to receivers. And Cooper Cup's back. Kyron Williams is banged up. We're not sure if he's going to play. My gut feeling says he does, but he gets his weapon back, and now I can see even if they lose big. Let's say the Eagles have their best game, Stafford's still going to get you 300 passing because he's going to be trying to pass the whole game to catch back up. And even when they win, he's still going to pass. When they beat the Seahawks, he still put up 300 yards passing.
I like him in the
I
mid range.
love Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I like him in the mid range. I'm not getting to Dobbs. I'm not getting to a banged up Derek Carr. The guy I do want to talk about though is Ryan Tannehill's 4.9. I know the passing attempts haven't really been there the past 2 weeks, but it's Indiana. This is a spot that is Ryan Tannehill's baby. I mean, you can play Ryan Tannehill at 4.9. You can
Uh-huh.
get Hopkins at only 5'7". You still have 5'6" left over. Then you have a defense to play that will leave
Yeah.
you a ton of salary left over. I mean, the price tags interest me. I wrote up DeAndre Hopkins. I wrote up Brian Tannehill. I like them both a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Indiana. This team cannot stop the pass to save their lives. And
No, they
Tennessee's
cannot.
Tennessee's a passable offense also or defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go with Pittman, I get the run back. So there's
Yeah.
multiple options in this game for you to go to, in my opinion.
I like I you're more higher than Tannehill. I am. This Titans. The best way to sum up this Titans team is you just don't know what you're going to get. They went to Cleveland and lost 27-3. Then they came back and won the next week 27-3. You don't know what you're going to get. And with just that, I just can't. I'd rather go up to Tennessee's your stat. Mine is Arizona. I like the way Dobbs is playing. Marquise Brown has been very good with him. Marquise Brown is putting up good numbers. He's got 23, 17, 25. He had that one bad game, and he's still and he's only $300 more than Tannehill. And he has no picks. He's taking care of the ball. And Cincinnati shows you can score on them. I mean, the Titans just put 27 on them last week. So I think that's where me and you differ. You're on the Tennessee side. I'm on the Arizona side.
What do you about Zach
But I
Wilson?
do like Hopkins.
What about Zach Wilson against
I
Denver?
think. Now,
Not after last game against
no,
KC?
I mean, you want to. Do you feel comfortable put any sort of money that you work hard for into a lineup and you know it's going to be anchored at quarterback by Zach Wilson?
When they're playing Denver that just had 70 points dropped on them,
It's Zach Wilson.
I could see it. I could see it.
I can also see him struggling again. I can also see them feeding Brees Hall because I think that's going to give them the best chance to win. Like you said, Cook is washed.
He's
I
bad.
think
Bad.
I think
Definitely
Salah sees it too. He stinks.
Yeah. So
So
I mean, speaking of running backs,
mhm.
what about Saquon Barkley at A1? Highest price option on the slate.
You can go there. He's going to be low owned, but I don't think this game's going to be close. And I think they're going to be trying to throw to catch back up. The only person I like on that team, I had someone try to convince me that Daniel Jones is the play. Uh, he couldn't convince me of that, but he did convince me Wandale Robinson at $3,000 at a minimum would be a nice play because he was targeting him a lot. But Saquon, coming off injury, I don't mind playing guys off injury because you take them at the low ownership, and the best time to pounce is when no one wants them. But I just don't think it's going to be close enough. And if it gets out of hand, they're probably going to take care of him and get him off the field.
I'd rather go to Bijan or Derrick Henry.
I'm 100% with you on that one. I would rather wait to see Saquon get a better matchup and also another week of getting healthy.
Because you know good and well they're going to throw him into the fire and just hope for the best. That's
Yeah.
if he's even remotely healthy, they're just going to throw him in there and say, "All right, good luck." Pretty much is how I imagine seeing this go down.
Bijan Bijan's proven me wrong twice. And now he plays one of the worst run defenses in the last couple of years. This is a smash spot for him. But man, I just worry because of my luck. I go to Bijan when I'm like, you proved me wrong, dude. I'm on board. And that's when he lets me down. But with Houston, I don't see that happen.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be tilting to say the least. Jonathan Taylor, huh?
One thing I would say, I like Derrick Henry against the Colts, man. He torches Indianapolis. And he had a good game last week in Cincinnati, and I think he's gonna try to build off that.
Yeah,
He owns he put up 20 and I think 24 and 20 last year.
yeah, I don't mind him at all either.
Um,
What do you think of the Jonathan Taylor news? Them being back in practice.
I don't know if he's gonna play.
He's not playing. I don't
And
think so.
Tennessee's run defense is pretty good.
I don't see him. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't.
Mhm.
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
even if he does play, are you even thinking about playing him?
No.
I'm not either. I would rather go back to Zach Moss, who's getting all the carries in that backfield. He had a bad game last week.
David Montgomery, the vulture
Love
of
him.
touchdowns. Literally the vulture of the touchdowns. Every time I
Love
see
him.
him in the end zone, it's like, there he goes again. It happens. There he goes.
And Carolina can't stop the run. I think Detroit is going to, especially with Brown now out, I think they're just going to try to run the air out of the football. And their guy's going to be David Montgomery. And MCDC has shown that's what he wants to do. He wants Montgomery to pound the rock, control the time, and get out of there. I mean, he had 32 carries last week.
It was wild.
And it's clear that, Gibbs is going to be in the pass catch, and everyone thought Gibbs was going to eat into Montgomery's workload, but it's been quite the opposite.
So the hamstring is
Even when Montgomery was out, Gibbs didn't get the opportunities.
the hamstring for Gibbs is also in question, which that already worries me because you know how it is with hammies. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
either you're full go or you're not, one of the two.
Yeah.
There's no in between with messing with a hamstring. I think Kyron Williams will play. I'm not really getting him at 6'7". I'm much rather go
Mhm.
David Montgomery or even Joe Mixon at 6'4" against the
Yeah,
Arizona defense, who is terrible. Um,
they're not. They're pretty bad against the run. Mixon he's in a really good spot. He really is. You know, if they, I believe that offense wants to try to he needs to be a B instead of along with Chase and A1. You got to get him going because just from watching Burrow trying to throw, they have no fear of Mixon running the ball, no
right.
defense. They need to get him going.
I'm not playing Alvin Kamara at 6'3". I much rather go to Mostert. How do you feel?
Um, I'm not touching the Dolphins backfield. I just don't know. Kamara, you know that's his backfield because Williams is hurt, Miller's a rookie, and he's going to get the checkdowns from a banged up Derek Carr. And New England lost Judon and Gonzalez. There's two of the top defenders out. Even if Kamara has like a bad rushing day, he's going to make it up to you in receptions.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how to feel about him yet. I don't know. It's like
I'm
it's
not saying he's a must start either. I'm just
yeah.
saying that if I had a choice, I would rather go Kamara than Mostert because I at least know Kamara is going to get you some points in the receiving game.
What do you think about DeAndre Swift? I mean, is this backfield his pretty much now? Like
Yeah,
is
it is his.
I think it's his.
I think it is his too. He's he's playing at home, man. He's from that area. He seems like he's happy where he's at, and he's producing on the field. I mean, he really didn't have a great game last week. He had like 40 rushing yards,
Was
but he
mainly
still got a touchdown.
the receiving
Yeah, I
also.
mean, he's starting to get in the receiving game now, and I honestly think the last year he's getting the read of when Jalen Hurts is looking down the field. He's now the option that normally went to Goddard. I think he's taking Goddard. I think he's taking Goddard's spot as it looks. I think Hurts is going to look to him before he looks at Goddard now. So, and against this Rams defense, it's not the Rams defense of a couple years ago. This defense is not very good.
Zach Moss, I'm not really playing at 5'8". James Conner,
No,
I could see him getting the rushing attempts at least. In the mid range, I wouldn't mind throwing a dart on him. I'm not playing Madison. There's no way I'm playing Minnesota backs. Pacheco, I'm not really playing either, even in coming after a big game. I
yeah.
I don't trust that performance whatsoever, in my opinion. Um,
People see the one big run, they think that is, oh, he's back. I mean, it's one big run. Anyone can do that, and then everyone is. I see it all the time. Like a back or a receiver have one huge play, and then next week they're chalked. Even after that one big play, they don't do anything else, or even target or give as many handoffs after that.
I'm not touching the New England options between Zeke and Stevenson. Javonte Williams is questionable. I don't know what to do with him or what to do with his backfield, at least with McLaughlin at 5,000. For 72. I mean, he had the one long run for 31. I mean, he's getting receptions in the backfield, but it's against the Jets. That's what worries me.
I mean, I would prefer Piron over them. At least Piron would get you some points in receiving game. Piron's kind of like how I feel about Kamara. Like Piron, I know will get you points in the receiving game, but I don't like that. I don't like this backfield at
All right, yeah. And
all. I
then
do like Brees Hall down there.
I'd say the best play of the slate, pretty much, in my opinion.
Dude, I'm 100% with you, and I've talked to other people too. They are agreeing with me, but like I'm looking at ownership, and he's not getting the love that everyone else is getting. Everyone's going to Bijan. Everyone's going to some people are going to David Montgomery. People are going to Joe Mixon. I think he gets overlooked on this slate.
I think he's an absolute lock if I ever had to say a lock, in my opinion.
Oh, he's in mine.
At 5'4". I mean, that price that's way too cheap. I'm not getting the Najee at 5'4" either. This offense is in shambles.
I'm going to defend Najee. I don't think it's Najee's fault that he's not producing. I think this is a Matt Canada problem.
I agree with you.
I
Especially,
think Najee's talented, man.
especially when Matt Canada has a burner on Twitter.
Like, of all people to have a burner,
Happens.
why, dude? Like, you're trash. Why do you have a burner?
Happens.
Cam Akers down there in the 4 is more. He's there. I Here's just my opinion. I've not heard nothing. You can just see it just from. I don't think the Vikings are in on Madison anymore. You don't make that trade if you're in on your guy. I could see Akers throughout the weeks getting more carries. He got some goal line carries against Carolina. He just got tackled at the 1.
I kind of want to. I want to see one more week of it, in my opinion,
Yeah.
before I play him. Like, give me just one more showing to see how this backfield's going to split, and then I'll play him.
Here's one other name that I was just thinking about. Algier. I can totally see Bijan guys getting upset at Algier be taking the goal line snaps.
I think also Patterson was active last week. Yeah, Cordell Patterson was active. He didn't see anything. Um,
Why don't they trade him?
I don't know.
Dude could play.
Yeah,
You think like a team like that needs some offensive help would, try to go grab him. Like Pittsburgh would be great. I think he'd be awesome in Baltimore.
do you like Craig Reynolds, by the way, also? If there's no DeMarc,
No,
are you getting to him
no.
to cover?
No, I think that's I think that is straight Montgomery's backfield. I think he'll be the 3 down back
I mean,
if get out.
we're gonna have a situation like last night with Blasingame getting into the game.
I don't know, man. I never seen 4 running backs get hurt on one slate.
When Khalil Herbert, that was wild. But
It was not. Here's one thing that's been bugging me too about running backs, man. Like, because I had Rasheed White on Monday Night Football last week with Tampa. What is up with these teams 1 yard line and throwing it?
yeah, I saw that too. It's been happening more.
Oh, did you see my tweet when I was about to chunk the TV?
When
Yeah, on the Monday night, Rasheed White on the 1 yard line, and he was in my Monday Night Football lineup, and Baker just tosses up to Mike Evans. Oh my god!
Yeah, I kind of put my phone up last night when I saw DJ Moore go nuclear. The worst play of the freaking slate.
Yeah,
The worst play. But speaking of receivers, Justin Jefferson 9-4, Tyreek Hill's 9,000, who just got fined like $7,000 for not wearing socks. That was interesting to see. Also, you have Cooper Kupp, who is supposed to be fully healthy and back at 8-6. AJ Brown at 8,000. So let's talk about a 9Ks and 8,000 options. If I had to rank it, it would be kind of just throwing a dart in the wind. Tyreek Hill at 1. I would go Justin Jefferson 2, Kupp 3, Brown 4. What about you?
If I would go Jefferson 1. Are we just talking about how much you like them or points?
How much I like them.
Jefferson, Kupp, Brown, and Hill. And hold on, let me phrase this on Hill. I can definitely see Hill having a monster game. Don't get me wrong. It's the blowout factor that I worry about. I'm not worried about KC blowing out Minnesota. I don't think that's going to happen. Philly and LA, I think it's going to be close. So for Brown and Kupp, the same message is going to be for each. I can't say that about the Giants and the Dolphins.
You mean Chase Claypool's not taking Tyreek Hill's job away?
Chase Claypool is trash.
You mean that's not happening? I'm confused. What was happening? I thought Chase Claypool was going to be the number 1 receiver.
I thought he was a top 5 receiver.
But he was. But I do like Daniel's quote saying he's going to give him a clean slate and like everything's. This is a new team. You have your chance to perform. You're going to be you're going to be like everybody else. This is your, like I said, clean slate. So I do like that factor to say the least.
He doesn't fit that offense, man. He's a tall receiver. He's like the 4th fastest, 5th fastest receiver in that receiver. He's lanky. He don't fit that offense to me.
It was cheap and it was an option, to say the least.
And can't knock them for that. Oh man, what was I going to say? With the Philly and Rams game, reason I put Brown over them, the Rams defense, and I said earlier with Stafford, Philly's defense is gonna have a lot of yards to receivers, and I could definitely see Stafford and Hurts just airing it out.
Yeah.
Straight, just straight bombs left and right.
Yeah, I could see it. Jamar Chase.
And with these guys, there's enough minimum price guys you can plug in. You can get two of these guys.
Yeah, it's possible. Jamar Chase is 7'9". I don't mind going to him, possibly as a dart throw. Again, to be different, because nobody's
Mhm.
going to play him. You already know nobody's going to play these Bengals receivers.
About that.
St. Brown is doubtful. That
Mhm.
injury popped up today. That's going to open up a lot for us.
Yeah.
Puka 7'7". I like Puka as a pivot from Cooper Cup because people
Mhm.
are Cooper Cup active are going to say Puka's pretty much done out of this offense. I do not think that's the answer whatsoever. I think Puka's still going to have his huge games. Uh,
Mhm.
at 7'7", I like it. Jalen Waddle 7'5", another pivot off of Tyreek Hill. You can play one or the other. In my
Mhm.
opinion, I wouldn't mind going to Jalen Waddle. Devontae Smith, kind of the similar story. It's kind of 1A to 1B. You really can
Mhm.
go to either one. And then last but not least, Chris Olave, 6'9".
Mhm.
How do you feel about him, man?
I like Olave this week. Uh, Olave last week had 146 air yards, but he only had 4 yards receiving on 6 targets, which means they were trying to throw bombs to him last week against Tampa, and they just couldn't do it. I think Carr's just too banged up. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure if Carr plays. Even if Carr does play or it's Jameis, I
Mhm.
still like Olave. They're trying to get him the ball downfield. It's apparent. So that would be one of the guys that I am really interested in. I did see something on Twitter where executives around the league believe Waddle, this is going to be his breakout game. Just something to note.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Um, I love DeAndre Hopkins at 5'7". I
Mhm.
like Tannehill. I like Hopkins. That's way too cheap. You
Mhm.
can't go wrong with Nico Collins, in my opinion, at 5'6".
Mhm.
Zay Flowers, even though receivers are pretty much healthy and OBJ is playing, I still like Zay Flowers at 5'5". He's going to be the number one option on this team,
Mhm.
despite Mark Andrews, of course. Tutu is the guy that I don't know what to do with because of Cooper Cup
Yeah.
being back. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do either. I'm just going to let it sit for a week to see what's going on. Van Jefferson, dude, like you were, like I can see teams being interested in Jefferson. It's you got four receivers that can play, and even when Cup was out, Jefferson was not being very productive. So I think Tutu
He
has
was
solidified himself. Yeah, Tutu solidified himself in this offense. So I think his spot's going to stay, but it's just how. I'm not worried about if, it's how.
yeah.
One guy that we passed over, you know, Garrett Wilson against the Broncos is not a bad little play.
What you don't
Broncos
like?
stink,
What about Zach Wilson?
dude. I have seen a receiver have a monster game and the quarterback barely broke 10, 11 points.
I did skip over Michael Pittman. Also, I do like him. 6'4".
He against that poorest Tennessee Titan defense, that is a solid play. The price makes me a little nervous from getting him. If he was in the 5,000 range, I would be all over. But like I said, man, honestly, I would be more invested in Pittman if Minshew was quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Jordan Addison, I'm not trusting him. He's way too robust, like I talk about every single week.
Mhm.
I don't like the whole variables between him. It's kind of like Gabe Davis on the Bills. It's so iffy that you don't know what to expect.
Great comparison.
Like you
That
don't
is a
know.
great.
Like one week he's getting over 100 yards and 3 TDs, and the next week he's getting you 0 yards with 4 targets. Like I don't know what to do with him. I
Yeah,
don't. Like here we are. Like again, 1 target for 0. Eight
bounce
target,
back,
huh?
bounce back.
Yeah, we'll see. Adam Thielen 5-1. I continue to like him. The
Yep.
targets are there,
Mhm.
say the least. That seems to be Bryce's young number one option. Either the team's looking for a number one receiver. I guess they wish they had DJ Moore back, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but I think they're going after Judy because I saw online Judy started following Bryce, Derek Brown, and a few other players. So that's a name to watch out for. A guy in this range that I really like, I talked about him earlier, is Marquise Brown. If you go to Marquise Brown's game logs, Marquise Brown is playing very, very well. And this Cincinnati Bengals defense is not a world beater. I mean, my God, the Tennessee Titans put 27 on them. Thielen, I do like. They are trying to feed Thielen the ball. It's now teams know this now.
That's the yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Tank Dell, I don't mind at 4.8. He seems to be filling in his role really well.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Bourne, I'm not really getting to a 4.6. I'm not getting to Hodgins.
Nah, I'm not touching any. The only giant receiver I would want interest in
Wandell.
is Wandale at minimum price $3,000. Dude, he's good at yards after the catch, and Tannehill was throwing his way a lot. He has a nice role in that offense. There's no other receiver on that offense that I would want to play.
You meant Daniel Jones, by the way.
Yeah, I think they're going to be down. He's going to try to throw to get them back in, and he's going to go to Wandale. But I see you got Taj, with Higgins out. Taj does get a nice bump. I do like that play right there. Taj is the guy you can plug in there. But I mean, he's frustrating. It's the week you play the Bengal stack, he goes off and everyone else doesn't. That's the best way to describe Tyler Boyd.
Also, Bateman, I think is cheap at 4.4. I don't know how you feel about him, but at 4.4, I mean, it's been a down year, to say the least. It's been down, but I mean, 4.4
I
against Pittsburgh, I get it.
I get it too. Would it surprise me if he had a good game? Nah. But I just don't see it.
So, when you talk about these Detroit receivers, so Josh Reynolds is questionable. You have
Mhm.
Jameson Williams is questionable also.
I
Not
like
really,
Jameson
of course,
Williams.
but I don't know. I'm kind of liking Khalif Raymond at 3.3, and I also don't
Mhm.
like Antone Green at 3,000.
Another guy I like is Michael Wilson from the Cardinals. Had a monster game last week. And he's down there in the 37. He's getting some nice volume in his offense.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. Um,
There's a lot you can punt on receiver this week and be just fine.
let's go to tight ends, man. 7
Yep.
for Travis Kelsey. 7.6. How do you feel about that price tag, man?
It's priced right. He's the best tight end in the league, and it's not even close. But this year's been this year for tight ends has been absolutely horrible. No tight end has separated himself behind Kelsey of saying, "Hey, I'm a top guy."
Man, interested in
Hopkins,
Sam Laporta, by the way.
you can make the argument, and
Statement.
it's a big argument that Laporte is the second best tight end this year.
I mean,
He's putting
as a rookie, I mean, he's
yeah,
putting up good numbers.
very good numbers. I mean, 22, 11, and he has his down games, but Green Bay's not a horrible defense, and Kansas City's very stout. I mean, he's like I say, he's still a rookie. The guy that I like is Zach Ertz, and you and I got different opinions. Hawkinson, man, like Hawkinson is 6,500, man. I'm just not. I don't want to pull the trigger on that price because he's just so inconsistent.
Before you talk about Ertz,
Yeah,
what is going on with this? Like, what?
I I don't know. Like
It's bad.
Is
It's
is
bad.
he does he is he washed? Does he stink now?
I think it's
Or is it just
Daniel.
Daniel Jones?
I think it's Daniel Jones. Like,
I think it is too. Do you think he regrets like leaving?
yeah,
I want to see him on a good team, man. I want to see him like on a team that will use him to his bill. Honestly, if the Eagles and the Giants wanted to have a Goddard Waller trade, I think that would be very beneficial for both of them because they're both lost in their offenses.
speaking of Philly, I do like Tyler Higbee. Even with Cooper Cup back, this matchup is great for him.
It is. It is. Like
One.
the Phillies have not been very impressive on defense.
Zach Ertz, you want to talk about him for a minute, man?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of volume in this offense, and he's getting the goal line looks too. That's exactly what you want. He's got 20 receptions. He had a stinker against Dallas, but that's the game they won. And when you look at him, 10 against Washington, 10 targets in the last week, he's getting a lot of volume. And at 3,500, like, sign me up for Zach Ertz all day at that price.
I do like not Kyle Pitts. I do like Jonnu Smith though at 2.9. The targets
I
and
do too.
run are there for him. Like he's maybe seeing 10% less of snaps than Kyle Pitts. The targets are there. 6'8", 6.
Yeah,
I like it, to be honest with you.
I do too. He knows this offense well from being with Arthur Smith in Tennessee. So he knows this offense like the back of his hand. So at 2,900 is a good punt play if you want to try to go instead of going punt a receiver. If you want to go punt tight end, that would be a guy that I would definitely recommend that you put in there.
Agreed. So defenses, which ones are you throwing a dart on?
I don't hate Pittsburgh's defense. I don't think that Pittsburgh is going to stop Baltimore from scoring, but that's not what you need. You need sacks, maybe a takeaway or two to keep you in the positive. That's really all you want. For my defense personally, I want a team like the Jets.
At 3-1.
That's not a bad play. You know what? I'm not trying to be a homer. Carolina at 2-2. If you just want to punt,
I get
they
with
get
St. Brown. Yeah.
St. Brown, and they're just going to run the football. I don't think Detroit. Now, I'm not saying they're not capable of it. I just don't see Detroit like scoring like 34, 35 points against them. So they can keep them in that point range, and they can get some sacks because Goff's going to have to hold on to the ball a little bit longer to let his receivers' routes develop because none of those guys are on the level of St. Brown nor I never thought I'd say this, but nor of Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. It's gonna be an interesting slate, man. But do you have any thoughts when we get out of here, bro?
This is a good GPP week.
Agreed.
If you want to try to punt somewhere and get some studs in multiple places, this is your week to do it. You got a lot of cheap guys at quarterback like Dobbs or Tannehill. I mean, if you want to bomb your lineup and go Zach Wilson, you can. A lot of cheap guys at receiver like Michael Wilson or Wandale and Jonnu Smith. Well, this is your week to do it.
It's gonna be a great week, man. So hope one of us wins the Millie Maker, to say the least. But that breaks down our week 5 NFL slate. Thank you for tuning in. It was a great and safe rest of the night, everybody. Have a good one.